Grand Rising. What's poppin', guys and goddesses? We back for another fuck around, find out Tuesday. But it is the special month of mental health awareness. So I guess we can call today something else. What are we gonna call it? Let's call it. I got a good one. Let's call it. Oh shit. I had a good idea. Facing our, I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. But we're back with another Fuck Around Find Out Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and goddesses, feel free to tap in, share the room. DJ, crazy man can play us in. Oh, I just got it. I just got it. I just got it. I just got it. Let's call it, let's face our fears, anxieties, frustrations, and obstacles together. That's the FAFO for this month. Mental health awareness. Get your just received an update. It's the Think Hard crew. Yeah. Just received an update. Yeah. It's the Think Hard crew. What up? Yeah. It's the Think Hard crew. You know. Just received an update. It's the Think Hard crew. What up? It's the Think Hard crew, yeah. We may have had difference. We may have had difference. The suppression, the use of marijuana. The suppression. It's the Think Hard crew, yeah. 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 Think Hard crew, yeah.
Back again.
Yes, sir. Hey, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with like a quick little mantra, or you want to say, I guess, what do they call them, mantras when you speak in those, like I like to bring money into my life or our control. What are those called? Affirmations.
Mm,
Yeah, affirmations. That's what they call it. I like to
there's
start us
another
off.
word too. What's the other word?
Yeah, I can't think of it right now.
Hypnotizing.
Yeah, maybe, but we about to do it in a good way though. So I like to give y'all an affirmation. You don't have to say it with me. Obviously, this is going to be recorded. Manifesting, also lucid. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it's okay to need a tune-up sometimes. Don't be afraid to ask for help and prioritize your mental health. You are strong, capable, and worthy of living a happy and healthy life. You are strong, capable, and worthy of living a happy, healthy life. Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's keep it like that. What up, guys? What up, Lou? Get your ass. Say something, nigga. You online? We get your ass to talk today. We gotta talk about Kendrick. We gotta talk about Kendrick and Drake to get this nigga on here talking.
He'll be ready then, boy.
Right, my boy be on there ready, like light skinned niggas unite.
Nah, I'm actually in a car right now.
Oh, okay, my bad, my bad. You said he rolling. He literally mobcasting. So yeah, my bad, bro, my bad. I just like to fuck with Lou, but yeah, we back, guys. It's fuck around, find out Tuesday, or in other words, facing our fears and obstacles together today. We left off yesterday. Where did we leave off? We left off with hold on, I got it in my notes right here. Cause y'all think that we just be getting on here talking like we don't know what the fuck we talking about. But nah, nigga, we take notes, we do research. You know what I'm saying? Like
I remember where we left
oh,
off.
we left off at the intersection of mental health and social justice.
Yeah. I was about to
Yep,
say, a
that's
matter of fact, I got this shit in my notes.
yes, sir. So to jump right back into it, since we are here on this Tuesday,
Well, we did do we talked about self care versus self medication
oh yeah,
also.
yeah, we did. Oh, yep. So the next one, yep, we did because that was the last one. That was the last one. I'm sorry, I forgot that. So forgive me on that note.
But you know what? And so, like, just the mantra that you just did there, that would be, a self medication. That would be
Absolutely,
self care also.
yes, sir. And
Just
sometimes we
staying in
gotta.
touch with yourself.
You know those movies where you see people just looking in the mirror, like telling themselves, "Yes, I can." You know what I mean? You are the shit. You know what I mean? Like that shit really works, bro. Like
Hmm.
I don't know
Oh,
whoever
you know
you
what?
are.
Taking like post-it notes or sticky notes and just putting
Yeah,
them
that
all over
too.
the place with good, like,
Bro,
inspirational shit
there
wrote on
was a
them.
weird stat. There was a weird stat that I found out that kids who got notes in their lunch boxes from parents were like, 30 or 40% more successful in their life or some shit like that. I have to find it for you guys because that was just on some, just I was
The
randomly looking.
lunchbox notes.
Yeah, the lunchbox
Yeah,
notes. Like those guys, like the kids who got those and the kids who actually, brung home, brung lunch from home that was made by a parent with love type shit. You know what I mean? It was
right,
they were like 30% more successful in life or some shit like that. I
right.
was reading this fucking article. It had me fucked up. I'm like, damn, but that's crazy. And I almost wanted to call my mom and be like, hey, nigga, you ain't leave me no fucking notes. That's why I'm fucking that's why I'm a podcaster, nigga. Let me quit y'all. I'm fucking with y'all, man. I'm just trying to keep y'all mental health on a light note. But
Yeah.
we'll dive right
Well,
into it this Tuesday if you want to know. I got
yeah,
some
man.
numbers
So
unless you
I was
want to
just
get
gonna
right into
say
it.
five things. I don't think we went over these yesterday, but if we did, it doesn't matter. It's all good because repetitive stuff helps kind of
Yeah.
reprogram the brain. But so taking care of our mental health is crucial, obviously, just
Mm,
like our physical health. If you didn't know, by prioritizing mental wellness. Sorry, and one or five different ways that we can prioritize mental wellness. One would be improve our overall quality of life, which we talk
yep.
about all the time. Number
Yep.
two would be just enhance relationships and connections, which we talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, increase our productivity and performance, which we talk about all the time. Even though maybe we don't do it, we still talk
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
um, Four, better cope with challenges and adversity. And then number five, live a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
Yeah.
So you could kind of say all those sound the same, but it's like once you start
Yeah.
digging into the
It's
actual
yeah. They're
the details of what
yeah.
helps us feel good
There's
and
things
not,
that separate. There's things that make a difference with it. I mean, I think that last one that you said, like if
kind
you
of sums it up.
yeah, but well, if you try to do that, you know what I mean. Try to
You're going to
live
have
like
to
the
do the
things.
others.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do the other ones. Yep, yep, absolutely,
Okay.
because that's it. Just goes hand in hand with it. And that's some real life shit though, bro. You know what I mean? For real,
Right.
for real. Because anything that I do, anything that you do, you should feel fulfilled in it. And if you're not, then I don't think it's for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
that's just
Well,
and damn. Sometimes that's hard to accept though, because like
Well,
it's so
hold on. So that
Go
goes
ahead.
right with the next one that I was going to go at because
Okay.
I was asking you these yesterday. So
Yep. Okay.
exactly, probably what you were about to say would go along with this: the power of vulnerability.
Ooh.
How can sharing
Preach.
our vulnerabilities and weaknesses help break down mental health stigmas and foster deeper
Ooh.
connections?
Ooh. How can you said how can sharing them? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
how can
Okay.
sharing our vulnerabilities and weaknesses help break down mental stigmas and
Mm.
foster deeper connections?
Okay.
So, the power of vulnerability would just be actually living in a real life. That's what I
Right.
think.
I
If
think
you're
it's almost like
vulnerable,
a
then
I don't
you're
give a
you're.
fuck attitude too though. You know what I mean? Because
Oh
it's
yeah,
like I don't give a
I'm
fuck
gonna, I'm gonna
if
be
you
vulnerable
knew
enough to not
right.
to not be fake with you, but also to not
Right.
give a fuck in all
Right.
reality of what somebody thinks.
Right, what you might think of my weaknesses or
Right.
what but I think that in a relationship, um it's good to be honest about your vulnerabilities because the other person normally is strong in those categories that you're vulnerable in. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like that's why you guys kind of draw each other because you said and how does it foster deeper relations or connections? Is that what you asked at the end?
Yep.
Yeah. So for it to, that's how I think it will foster deeper connections. Because if Nova was vulnerable to me, like, yo, bro, I'm just really not good at doing the research. So if you could help me with the research, I could definitely come up with a dope outline for the
Right.
show
And
and
there
organize
might
and shit.
be
Yeah.
like a okay, so in helping break down the mental health stigmas,
Right.
so that lets everybody be able to work together. That
Yes.
lets everybody be able to say, hey, look, I understand that you feel this way about this. And maybe you don't want to talk live, or maybe you don't want to be the
Right.
person that's on film, or the person that's out talking to people, or the person that's even making the first phone call to a psychiatrist, counselor, or someone, a group like we talked about, right?
Right.
You might
Right.
be embarrassed to go to a
Yep.
group. But if you practice this sharing your vulnerabilities and weaknesses, that's going to help break down the mental health stigmas that people have against people with mental illness. And so
Absolutely.
then that helps you foster a deeper connection, not just with others, but even with yourself.
Hey, you know what? That's like it's yeah, it's almost like learning to accept yourself more to the point where it's a benefit to others now. You know what I mean? Like that vulnerability. It might seem like cuz there's so many walls that we put up and we had talked about it yesterday on how media affects our mental health and shit like that because how we want to be portrayed is not who we really are. You know what I mean? Half the time and it causes that
Right.
that sense of trying to play a role that we don't really even want to fulfill. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling. You know what I mean? But it's a strength in that vulnerability to be able to be like, yeah, this is me, and I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I know that I'm a dope individual. You know what I mean? And having that, I guess, confidence. It's crazy. It's like it's a duality for sure because you have to have the confidence to be vulnerable, and that is oxymoronic. You know what I'm saying? That statement. I have to be strong enough to be vulnerable. I have to be, you know what I mean? Like, what? That didn't even make any sense. Like, the whole point of
Exactly.
strength is to be invulnerable, right? Is to make sure that nobody can penetrate your what you have put up. You know what I mean? But that's in all reality, if you're in this duality that we live in, you're more than likely going to have
Right. To
to
be able to
be,
learn
yeah,
something, you got to go, you can't go
yeah,
in saying, I know everything.
right.
You
Or
got
you
to go
can't,
in like, shit, I don't know. I'm about to learn. And
you
that's being
can't,
vulnerable.
I can't be like, yo, I want to deal with my anxiety and not be presented with situations that make me anxious. You know what I'm saying?
Or,
Like, yeah,
or you can't go like trying to, figure out the reason why you have anxiety, but already knowing everything.
absolutely,
Like if you sit
absolutely.
down with somebody and they're like, okay, let me ask you this. Do you feel this way, this way, this way, this way about this? And you're like, nah, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, shit, fuck, what's wrong then? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so if you got to be vulnerable to be able to break down some walls.
And then that goes, and that would go into that other part of the notes, the next part of the notes that you had sent me with the relationships and mental health and examining what's toxic and I'm talking relationships as in romantic friendships and your family dynamics, because if you can't be vulnerable, if you can't do the first the step before this and be vulnerable with these people who you share this intimate relationships with, then how do you guys grow? You know what I mean?
Right. And you could
How
almost, sometimes you could replace the word vulnerable with honest.
Yeah. See, look, old man just said it. He said you got to be honest with yourself too.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's
I didn't
funny as
copy
hell.
you. I didn't copy you. We said it at the same time.
Synchronicities, bro. That's what I call. Yeah, definitely synchronicities. It definitely was at the same time, or on my screen at least. It came through at the same time. Yeah, and it's important though because there are family members, blood family who will have a toxic mental health relationship with you, and we as humans we will cling on to that instead of break away from it, all because we don't want to be that guy who fucks up this family
Right.
dynamic.
And we've also got to be able to realize when someone's like that. and
Yeah,
not fall into it and be like that also, because it's real easy to do that when maybe your whole family or like a
let me
lot
tell
of your
you.
family is like that.
Yeah,
And if you don't dive in like them, then you're on the outside.
it's a lot of religious families that deal with that, right? What you're talking about, you know what I mean? Because the whole
Yep.
family is religious, and then you might have a couple of eyeballs who are just like, I don't know about all of this. You know what I'm saying? And then they're the shunned ones, which creates a toxic a toxic mental health dynamic
Right.
between
Well,
the
I got a
whole
good example. So when we talked about in the media, and media
right.
means everything, not just the news media, but so think about this with what we're talking about right now, mental health in relationships. Okay, so what you were just saying about religion, you could even break it down to politics. You could
Yeah,
break it down to like if someone likes someone because of a color or
right.
their sex or whatever it is, where they come from, whatever. And so if you if you let the media or society control or kind of convince you what's right or wrong,
Mm,
especially in your mental,
mm.
then it's going to probably cause some mental health relationship problems
Yeah,
with romantic interests, relationships, friendships, family, work,
right.
fucking neighbors, fucking
I,
everything, bro.
I think that's we see evidence of that, like these podcasts that will be about just relationships, men and women, you know what I mean? And you'll see him talking about what's a healthy mental dynamic between a man and a woman, and how it should be portrayed or how it should be seen. And then you
Right.
have all of these constructs that's built in there, and
Well, I
expectations
think
and
that
shit.
goes right along with the fucking cognitive, is what we were talking about
Yeah,
too. It's like you got to
yeah,
make sure that, like, this is a well oiled up machine or computer up here in our head,
yeah,
bro. But if we don't really work towards taking care of it and keeping it that way, then it can fall, even though it's
yeah.
extremely powerful, it can start doing its own thing too.
Yeah, because I've seen podcasts where men will say some weird shit like, um, that's why men produce so much sperm is because we're not meant to be monogamous. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? That's so crazy how that they would have a whole group of men's mentality, their mind shifted from and be off balanced in that way. You
Right.
know what I mean? Without none of the research done behind it. No, actually, we produce that much sperm because everything in the vagina is meant to kill sperm. So
Exactly.
something has to survive. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
Exactly.
we produce that much sperm. But you will fuck around and you'll change the whole mental dynamic of a large group of individuals. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then now that there's a toxic relationship between men and women, and we don't understand why there's this crazy toxic relationship between men and women. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like there's
And
so
when
many
you put it
podcasts that are being
in
made
like
off of it.
reality terms, if you just think about that, what you said,
Yeah,
so you've got a bunch of sperm trying to get to one egg.
right,
That's just how it is when there's a bunch of dudes trying to get with one girl.
right.
That's exactly how life is. There's
Hmm.
always a bunch of people trying to get what's that one good thing.
Yeah.
So it could be whatever it is, but I mean, just as an
No, I feel you.
example,
Just as a
just
duality, like you're just looking at it
yeah,
in perspective. Like,
not
yeah, we're
necessarily
we,
related, but just in
yeah.
perspective.
No, I get you. I get you. I really do. And I,
It's like there might be there's millions of people trying to get
but
on
yeah, haven't
the
you realized though? Like you see it everywhere. Like all these podcasts, about relationships and men and women and their dynamic,
hmm
and it really deals with men's mental health. Like a lot of cats are trying to build up the men's mental health, and then there's a lot of women who still trying to back the women's mental health. And then you have these
but you
podcasts
can't
that
do
are
it toxic though.
right. All right, old
Like
man. I see
listening to Andrew Tate to me is a little
you.
toxic because
Yeah,
how are you going to
it's
be the
extreme.
best man you can be by downing everybody else?
Yeah, yeah, it's
That
extreme.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I get it. It's the extreme sense. You know what I mean? I think, and it's so crazy because the reason why that's effective is because we've been the extreme the other way for so long. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So like when you have like a group of simping ass men for a long ass time, like they're like, bro, we've been simping for a long time. If you want to talk about the men, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
for a long
100%.
time, like we've
Listen,
been sipping.
what does this mean? It ain't tricking if you got it.
Right? You can have whatever you
That's just a
like.
cool way of saying I'm spending money on a female for no reason. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, it does something to our mental health and the dynamic of relationships. You know what I mean? Not just to bring it back to, what we were talking about with the mental health in relationships. You know what I mean? It makes things toxic, makes the friendships toxic. You know what I'm saying? It makes the family dynamic even toxic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then people want to place the blame. Where's the really blame getting placed? And I just want to tell everybody that normally you should look within yourself about that, because
yeah,
we've allowed so much programming to fuck with our brains and our mental health that we probably wouldn't know what a healthy thought was. You feel what I'm saying? Or we probably wouldn't take it to as far to say that there is no such thing as an unhealthy or healthy thought. It's just all thought. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
and, and then and then see, I'm getting all philosophical on niggas with that shit. But it all goes down to keeping us aware of our mental capacity or our mental health, no matter what it is. You know what I mean?
right.
You gotta, when you think some shit, or when some shit pops in your brain, you know what I'm saying, you should be like, all right, now is this coming from me, or is this, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, like a
Well,
programming?
being mad at everybody and being mad at the world and being mad at a certain person because of what they look like or whatever it is, that's
Right.
actually bad for your mental health.
Yeah, it
You
is.
mean it doesn't mean that like you could think it's building you extremely strong to resist everything, but like
Yeah.
like you said, there's duality.
Yeah.
So for as strong as you are, you got to be as vulnerable
Yep.
also.
Yep. You have to be.
Um,
Or you're not strong. There is no such
right,
thing of
right,
strength in this world without vulnerability. And that is the fucking duality. You know what I mean?
yep,
There is no such thing as you can't have one without the fucking
right.
other.
Well, that goes, it's crazy, bro. Every time we start talking, it goes into the next one. But think about it. So, just what you were saying, duality
Right.
is a natural thing, right?
Yeah,
So, the
it is.
mental health benefits of nature.
Oh yeah.
Discuss the science behind nature's positive effects on mental well being and
So I had
stress reduction.
some cool shit about that. I was reading into because I'm growing cannabis and I'm down here with my plants. Is normally where I do the show at when I'm not running it from upstairs when Nova's running it. Uh, and I was doing some research about it, and man, people who farm cannabis plants, I would say leisurely, because I'm not sure. I didn't get the stats for like mass production wise or whatever. So leisurely, recreationally, growing cannabis plants or any plant, for that matter, taking care of them, they live longer. They live longer
Mm,
than the average human who doesn't. You know what I mean? Who's not a gardener, and that goes even for like occupations like bee farmers and what else did it fucking say? I can't remember. I have to pull it up. But I did do a little bit diving into just using nature to be able to help balance out your mental health.
right,
Um, and that shit is, it goes pretty deep down to like, I wouldn't say religious, I would say more spiritual, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes to having that connection with nature is more of a spiritual thing to keep you balanced. Did y'all know that when a baby is stressed out, um, some tribes of people, they go and they'll put the baby in the grass, or on the earth, or in some plants, or you know what I mean, like they'll literally connect the baby to the earth, make sure its skin
right,
is touching the ground somehow, and it's called grounding is what it's called. It's actually physically a thing. But when a baby is distressed, or stressed out, or upset, you know what I mean, crying, you know what I mean, like I watched a whole video of it where this lady, she was holding a crying baby, and even when she would put her feet in the dirt, you know what I mean, even while she was holding the baby, would make the baby stop crying. And the research behind it is like, it's almost like a electromagnetic. connection. You know what I mean? From the soles of our feet into our body, literally into the baby that she was fucking holding, and the baby would stop fucking crying. And
Hmm.
I thought it was amazing because we've been doing this research on mental health, and
Well, I mean, we're such an electrical being. People grasp that, and then they start understanding a lot more about how things work because we are like, and then everything around us is too.
yeah,
Like, even like if you eat fruits and vegetables that are in a can compared to eating fruits and vegetables that just get picked, they're still
yeah,
electric.
yep,
Um,
absolutely. They've
you know,
actually measured that shit. Like when you cut a leaf, the energy of the leaf still shows a complete leaf. Like,
right?
you know what I mean? Like the shit's alive, really. But like, I never thought in life that there was so much research. I never knew that there was so much information and research behind um, mental health, and then just going on like a walk in the grass without any shoes and socks on.
Hmm.
Like it made me start thinking of like, why the fuck do we even have shoes? Like, why was shoes and shit invented?
Seriously,
You know what I'm saying? Because if being grounded to the earth significantly improves my mental health, what the fuck is going on? Like rubber soles on our feet is actually like
yeah,
something we shouldn't
bro.
even be yeah,
I
shouldn't
wear
even be
flip
doing.
flops so much, and any chance I get, I take them bitches off.
Yeah, bruh.
And
That's
motherfuckers
smart.
be looking at me like, "What is this dude doing?" I'm like, "Man, that's cool shit." You know what I mean?
But some cultures, you know what I mean? Like, some cultures feel it's dirty, you know what I mean, to walk on the dirt, you know what I'm saying, type shit. And that you bring
Hmm.
germs and shit into the house and whatnot. But, obviously, there is a large mental health benefit to actually grounding to earth and
Yeah,
what nature
there
has to
is.
give you.
Look, we could just say that there. We're going to discuss that there is science behind
Yeah.
nature's positive effects on mental well-being
Now,
and stress reduction.
Now you could believe me or not, or you could just go do the research for yourself. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I smoke a little bit,
Like,
so the numbers might be off a little bit, but
how
you
about
get the
this?
point.
Why is it? Think about this.
Yeah,
Why is it that someone feels a sense of relaxation when they see ocean and a beach?
yeah,
And then they actually go down and walk on the beach and maybe
yeah,
get their feet wet in the water or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or, like you said, when you go outside,
Ooh,
if you
I
take
got
your
an
shoes
answer.
off and walk around in the grass,
Right.
I can almost guarantee everybody, unless you step on a sticker or like some bullshit or whatever, I can almost guarantee everybody will feel
Better.
halfway decent. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to feel a little bit better.
First, you feel the cold
It's
sensation of the
I was about to
grass,
say,
and
it's
then
the stimulation
oh my
also, the
gosh, bro, like
sensation.
you feel it if you it's the subtle energies, and so we be so busy, left and right, go here, look at this, do that, do this, make this happen, pay this, you know what I'm saying? Like we be so busy as humans, like we don't even fucking even stop to realize the subtle shit. Like, man, let me just stop and put my feet in this grass real quick and then balance myself, and I feel a lot better. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And people don't know like it's just that. Like and what's wild though is that
Or jumping in the water and like going for a swim or just like,
we used to practice little shit like that though. You know what I mean? Like that used to be like culture. You know what I mean? It used to be a part of culture.
or
Like, see,
think
the
about this, bro. Why does it feel good when you get in the shower?
right? Yeah,
Water hitting your face is a
yeah.
stimulation, and it feels like it's just rinsing all the bullshit off.
It does. It does. I think nature by far, well, I guess with nature and not the word natural, they go together. It's the
Right.
most natural way for you to balance your mental health.
Or getting a massage or doing yoga
Oh yeah.
or like all these things are like natural ways or nature
Yeah, nature
ways
ways.
of
Yeah.
not necessarily making it like that, but helping your mental health.
Yeah. I think also it goes right into the next one in your notes that
When yeah, it does, because you were talking about how fast everybody's going. So go
Yep, I
ahead.
was. It's the technology. Like, if you actually were to investigate the technology's impact on our mental health, it's a double-edged sword. I would say, we're a primitive being with a godlike technology. Who said that? Somebody said that in a quote. I can't remember who it was, but if you were to investigate the impact, it's a double-edged sword, you know. Your social media screen time, your digital connections, the music you listen to, the all of that digital intake from all around us, all the digital noise, I guess you could call it. You know what I mean? I think it it
Right.
will it will dull your ability to, I guess, connect with yourself. You know what I
And
mean? Because you're given that
I feel
connection to
like too,
so
like
many
our
things.
subconscious is, obviously is way more powerful and strong, and a lot. There's a mystic to it. There's a lot of
Right.
mystery to our
So
subconscious. So when we sleep,
right.
we during the day we've taken in all this
Oh my
stuff,
goodness. Right.
and we might not even know we remember it. But when we
Right.
sleep, that's when your body's supposed to repair itself. And if
Preach.
it's repairing itself while seeing something that's like, yeah, shoot that motherfucker in the face, da, da, da. Like, whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah.
where am I at mentally?
Where am I at mentally? And it's wild though, because I got a great example with my son. This dude is probably the smartest kid I got. That's why I'm afraid of even having any more, because the next one might come out talking. You know what I mean? Like straight up talking out the pussy. Like, yo, what up? Because this dude is so smart. But I can't allow him to stay all day on that tablet, because the amount of information this motherfucker is soaking in, you know what I'm saying, is almost too much. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost too much. Just a great example. You know what I mean, of how smart a 3-year-old is. You know what I mean, when you don't pay attention. I was telling the dogs. No, excuse me. My cousin MJ was telling the dogs, move out the way, get out my way, watch out. You know what I mean? Because my dogs were fucking with him, and he was telling them to get out the way, and the dogs wouldn't move. And he was like, my cousin MJ asked my dogs, do you hear me talking to you? Can you move out the way? And then my son goes, well, MJ, dogs don't speak English. And I'm like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just the amount of information that he's consuming, and just from his tablets. Like the dude don't even watch regular cartoons. If it's not, he knows how to add 14 plus 14 at 3-year old. You know what I mean? He knows how to add.
Mm,
He has these magnets. He watches. If it doesn't have any information in it, he don't watch it. He don't watch Tom and Jerry. He don't watch cartoons that have no information, like how we watch. Just strictly entertainment. We just watch shit blow up and get fucked up, and no, all of his shit that he watches is information. It's nothing but fucking information. And I think it's a
right,
double-edged sword, because if he sits on that, all day fucking long, you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of he gets detached from the rest of the fucking world. Luckily though, he's a tourist type baby, so he love being outside. So he likes to balance that. As soon as the door opens, he's like, oh yeah, he'll throw that tablet on the ground and be like, outside for sure. You know what I'm saying? Feet in the grass. I'm running that fast. You know what I'm saying? That's him. That's him all day.
right.
But that's just a good example of this technology and what it can do, because we went from having nothing to having no technology. No, we spent all day outside, bro,
Oh yeah.
all day. We wasn't allowed in the house. You know what I'm saying? Running up that
Didn't
light.
even want to be in the house,
We
but
didn't. If
really
we
wasn't
had to be in the
allowed
house,
for real though.
right? We weren't
Seriously,
allowed though. One time we was
it
in the
was
house when it
like
was raining and
until it's
shit.
time to eat, don't bring your ass in this
Don't
house.
bring your ass in this house, boy. You mean go outside, make friends, go play in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Go do something. You know what I'm saying? Go do something. Get out of this fucking
Yep.
crib. You know what I mean? But now the way the technology is, I would suggest, in order to balance your mental health, you gotta put that screen time. You gotta limit yourself. You know what I mean? Like and there's other ways you could do it though, because I found some companies though that said, that promote micro learning. They call it micro learning. Like if you're going to be on your phone anyways all day, a lot of people work from straight from their phones. You know what I'm saying? There's a way that you can balance your mental health by learning shit that you actually want to fucking learn, instead of fucking just scrolling all day
Right.
aimlessly.
Yeah. I mean, like you can learn a lot through scrolling, but did you learn something, or is it
Right.
just like something that's popped into your brain,
It's that
and now
endorphin
you
thing.
might be trying to figure out if it's right or wrong, and
You know what I mean? Like
who
drugs.
even
They talk
knows
about
if
that.
it could
Those
just be some fake shit anyway that you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
right. You're right. But it's it's the endorphin thing. And I think that goes back to the nature thing too. That's more of like a natural endorphin, right? And induced and then The other one is almost like digital crack, endorphins. You know what I'm saying? It's almost
Yeah.
like, it's just not, it's not for, uh I guess you would say, to use all the time. You know what I mean? It's not to be on all day every day. But some people make a living out of that. Picture, you know what I mean? If you were a TikToker or you were whatever, like people who make mad money just being on their phone all damn day.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that there's a underbelly to that, that like, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to say that I think a lot of people have a time limit,
Yeah.
or they only do quote unquote work stuff, whether it be creating content, whatever it is, and
Right.
then they too detach.
Right.
They have to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If not, then you could end up literally extremely depressed
Yes.
because of social media.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
There's
And
always somebody on there that's going to be better than you at everything. There's always
and
going to be
it's
somebody better, that looks better, that's
yeah.
richer, that's got more money, more freedom, more this, more
Mhm.
that. But like we all know, that's part of the media, and it might not be that good for you,
And
because
that
is it
goes
even
right into the
real?
next one though too though, because the last one on this segment of notes, we got about 24 minutes. We can keep it rolling, but it was about mental health across the generations, because an older generational person, they deal with things completely different than these young generations. Like when we had a few examples about it, you know what I mean, where the old guys, they normally like, "Quit, stop being a bitch and man up." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they don't believe. We talked about this. They don't believe in being depressed, in anxiety, and
Or
all
how
this
about
other
this?
shit.
A lot of people from, previous generations, they say this. They say out of sight, out of
Out
mind.
of mind. Yeah.
But nowadays, for a 13-year-old kid, how do they really keep stuff out of sight when their phone and their
Ooh.
everything is right
Yeah.
in their face at all times? So
Right
it's
in their
never
face.
out of
Yeah.
sight, out of mind for them.
Yeah. You're
And it's
right,
not
man.
that easy either. You know what I mean? Like, I'll
No, it
admit,
ain't.
I'm nowhere near 13 years old. I'm fucking
Right.
grown as shit. And I can tell you right now, sometimes it's even hard for me to be like, you know what? I'll just put it down.
Yep, just put it down. Just stop. Just leave it alone. It's because we're right in that middle though. We're in the middle of the older generation and the newer generation. Like we literally was the last generation to play outside and play video
Exactly.
game and play outside all day and then play video games all night. Like literally,
Yep.
that was us. You know what I mean? We played outside all day, and when the nighttime came, we played video games. You know what I'm saying, all night.
Yep.
We never
It
was
was
just
like
in that
this. It was
one
like you
spot.
might play basketball or football or baseball outside, and then you might
Right.
come in and play basketball, football,
Baseball.
baseball
Yep.
on video game.
On video games. Yep. And in the older generation, I would say, you know what I mean, when you look at the statistics, like there was less mental health, but I would just say that there was less people just going to the doctor about it.
Yeah, I would too.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't say that it wasn't I wouldn't say it was, would be, I guess you would say less because they were maybe a tougher generation. Uh I would just say because they were able to just, I think a lot of them died from it, died from stress and depression and
Yeah, I was about
anxiety,
to say that.
and don't even know it. You know what I'm
I
saying? Like,
I mean, I don't have any, scientific proof right in front of me,
yeah, I
but I'm a
don't, I
firm
don't. Yeah,
believer that like if you take something and just stuff it down and just don't talk about it and just stuff it down and stuff it
oh
down, and it makes you
shit.
feel a certain way, I think that does cause things in your
I think
body.
it causes cancer. I think that's a vibration. That's all vibrational. You know what I mean? I think if our mental health is key as human beings, okay. Now, obviously, we're soul inside a human body, so understand is the mental health, the engine or the computer system in this car that we're driving, is the most important and powerful thing on this planet. Obviously they want everybody's mental health to be unstable, because if it was stable nobody would participate in a lot of the bullshit that's going on in the world. And I'm
100%.
I'm a firm believer in that. Our past generations got it even worse than we did because they didn't have access to all the information. Like the old man said, we went from 0 to 100. Our generation,
Hmm.
we were that generation. You know what I mean? Like the ones in front of us are Bill Gates and them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the ones behind
Yeah,
us,
think
you know what
about
I'm
it.
saying?
It was like growing up as a kid, it was like, outside all the time or either on a video game sometimes at night or during the day or whatever it is. And then you got all these other activities going on. And then all of a sudden there was this thing called a computer in the house. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, there's this thing called AOL and you could
Yeah,
chat with people all the way across the thing.
yeah.
And you know what I mean? So right then, like
Like,
some of your attention, whether you wanted it to happen or not, some of your attention went from being outside to
yep.
sitting in front of a computer.
And then the people before us, they didn't even, they didn't even have that. You know what I mean? So they were definitely outside, kicking
Right.
it all the time. Like
Yeah.
they barely had house phones. You know what I
The
mean?
only
Like,
the only people that had computers before our generation was people that was working for IBM and governments and
right. And
NASA's
they
and
were big
all
ass,
that.
dumbass computers. You know what I mean? My
Yep.
mom worked on them. Trust me. She went to two
Didn't even
different
look like a
colleges.
computer, like a
No.
goddamn generator
Right.
or some shit.
Right. But if we're discussing the mental health of, past generations compared to now, I would say that it's been a double-edged type sword. I would say that they didn't have as much pressure, but at the same time, they didn't have as much information. Like that's so out of sight. That's why the out of sight, out of mind thing. But at the same time, I think that they were not necessarily tougher in the sense of having a tougher skin. I think they were less vulnerable, which caused them to be affected by a lot of the mental shit, but also caused them not to seek help for any of the mental uh illnesses. And because also it's scientifically questionable that mental illnesses may or may not be passed down or inherited.
Right.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
okay, so how about you just led us right into the next thing. The media's portrayal of mental health has a significant impact on our understanding and perception of mental illness. And it's
Right.
a complex issue with both positive and negative aspects. So some negative portrayals, just like you were talking about, one would be stigmatization, right? So
Yep.
media often perpetuates harmful stereotypes and stigmatizes people with mental illnesses, portraying them as violent, unpredictable,
Yep.
or dangerous. Not saying that's not true,
No, it
but
is. We
if
see it
it's
all.
the
Yeah.
only thing put out there by the media, then it's almost like, well, why would I come out and tell someone that I'm feeling like this if somebody's going to look at me as violent, unpredictable, or dangerous?
Well, yeah, they used to just lock motherfuckers up in it. We used to have insane asylums. We don't really. They stopped putting money into that program. In here at Canton, we don't. I think there's might be a floor in a hospital dedicated to it, but that's about it. But there used to be insane asylums that they would just lock motherfuckers up in.
Bro, let's talk about that for a second. So, okay,
Yeah.
so there, they used to give people lobotomies. The person that
Bro, I
created,
see. Bro, you
look,
would not go to a doctor if you lived back then. Why would you go to a doctor and tell
if
them,
if
yo,
your
bro,
only
I'm hearing
option was
thoughts?
shock therapy or
Oh my
lobotomy,
God.
are you fucking kidding me? I'm not going, bro. My grandma
I
went.
see why they
My
wouldn't go,
grandma
bro.
got
That makes
shock
more
therapy,
sense now.
homie.
Yeah, that's
She said it
crazy.
was
I
the craziest thing
you
ever
just answered we just answered my own question. Remember I said I wonder why the older generation never went to the hospital for shit like that, right? Well, that's why.
because of the stigmatization. So it's
Yeah.
like
And the media did that shit. You right.
exactly the
Damn.
media made it to where it was like, if you got a mental illness,
Oh
it's not
God.
just that you could
Yeah.
be like this or that. No, you're all the way crazy, you're all the way violent,
But
and you're
like
all the way dangerous.
nowadays,
And
30% of people who are on disability for a mental illness. Ain't
yep,
that crazy too? So the media was been preaching that shit forever. And then at the same time, they're giving out millions of dollars to individuals who are I get a crazy check. You know how many motherfucking one of my family members tell me they get a crazy check? from the government.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Just,
yeah. But yeah, you're right though.
bro,
That
I didn't.
comes from that. So you back then there was no, I guess you want to say, logical psychiatric treatment for mental health illnesses. Like if you were hearing voices or if you had severe depression to the point where you were seeing things or whatever the fuck, or PTSD, like people coming back from war and shit, you know what I mean? Like and like having nightmares and see, bro, they would fucking lobotomize you or they would fucking drug you. They was using acid and LSD
They
on
were
your
putting
ass.
people in chairs and putting a knob on each side of their head and shocking them.
Mental health
Like,
awareness, guys. This is not long ago. Understand this. And he's what he's talking about how they used to
so how
do.
many people do you
Yeah,
honestly think
would
that
know.
did that on their own?
Yeah.
Majority of the person that ended
Yes.
up getting a lobotomy or whatever, it was like they did some crazy shit or
Yeah.
whatever, and it was like, look, we're not even finna try to deal with this.
Yeah.
Just hit that hammer on that
It
pin
said
and
the
lobotomize
devil
them.
told me to do it, or you know what I mean. Like you had we've heard a lot of those crazies, and a lot of times they either just get locked up forever, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, or they used to get sent to the insane asylum. You know what I mean? That
Right.
used to be, you know what I mean, the thing. You're right, and that
Well,
really
this is
doesn't.
kind of, it goes along with the whole what we were talking about yesterday is like the marginalizing of certain
Right,
people. So
right,
right here we see a group of people that have mental illness that are being marginalized to the point to where the sensationalism
right,
of mental health got people. It was either they were used it as like for entertainment value,
right, right,
or it was like not talked about.
right. Well,
It
I
was
mean,
only talked about if it was going to be talked about in the craziest way possible.
right, and now, bro, look at who they put in charge of our health. Like, you have a transgender, overweight male who's in charge of the all of the health shit in our United States, of America. Like, this person is the person who, supposedly,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like our mental health as a country or as a humanity hasn't been fucking stable for a long fucking time,
no,
a long fucking time, bro. Like you said, bro. If back then, just this is not long ago. What was that? The 40s, the 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah.
not that
I
long
think it was
ago.
like no. Hold on, lobotomies. Like that was a shit. I don't know
20s.
exactly what you. I think they were doing them things. Here, I'll check while you talk.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I'm saying that is that I know for a fact that it's not that long ago. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
It's not like all of the fucking information that we've had on mental illnesses is still relatively new. If you talk about compared to anything else.
Bro, they were doing the last recorded, which means that wasn't the last one because we just know that.
uh,
But the last
right.
recorded lobotomy in the United States was in 1967 and
Damn.
ended
So
in the death of the person of whom it was performed. So think about that. In 1967,
yeah,
if
man.
somebody died from a lobotomy, how many people died when they started
Before
doing
that,
lobotomies?
right, right. When did they tell when the first one was? And this is just a
Uh,
little bit of mental health awareness stats for you
yeah,
guys.
hold on. Um, I got it.
And nobody's gonna want to go like to the doctor or to a
So
psychiatrist or psychologist.
they started in the late 1880s.
Okay,
So
so
from
from
18 okay, we got to swallow this one. From 1880s until 1967, human
yeah.
beings that were supposedly smart as fuck and knew how to cure people thought the way to do it was to basically make you brain dead.
Well, yeah, I'm telling y'all, yo,
Damn, bro.
the mental health, the information, all the knowledge we have about it and shit is not old enough, man. Like this shit is so crazy that we prescribe these medications, we got these diagnoses, you know what I mean? We literally like how you were saying the stigmatism and the marginalization of a people, like they've literally marginalized a whole transhumanism type movement over telling people that they can be whatever they want to be, and meaning that literally and figuratively. But then they will marginalize it and say, but I can't identify as a white man, but I can identify as a woman though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm crazy if I want to identify as a white man, but I'm not crazy if I want to identify as a woman. You know what I mean? So I get
Yeah.
what you mean by that with the marginalization, and then sorry to go back on that lobotomy shit. Like I said, it just goes to show that we don't know shit really still. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't really know shit about our mental health or the power of it per se. You know what I'm saying? Because man, there's still documents being released by our government. Funny meme I seen was that the
Mm-hmm.
American government is the only government that would say they didn't do some shit, and then 20 years later, when the information has to be released, be like, yeah, we did it, and what? No, anyways, but that's what normally been happening. Like we've got information released on how powerful the human mind is, just from MK Ultra programs
Right.
and the old
Okay,
shit.
so
You know what I
check
mean?
this out.
What up?
This from the government and the media sensationalizing mental illness as being untreatable, basically, in during the times from the 1800s to 1967, specifically like in the 1930s.
Uh huh.
Basically, it says that asylums were developed with the intention of offering support and safety to to people in these circumstances. Okay,
Right.
so the reason why they were open though is because the government, like the same kind of person you're talking about that doesn't know if he's a man or a woman,
Right.
that person and the media told people that
You were crazy.
if you were crazy, there was
Hmm.
nothing that could be done because there was no drugs
Right.
to help cure
Right.
anything. So the only
Right.
thing to do was to call and have your family member picked up and taken to an insane asylum. And that was it. And that was the thing to do because it was like, you
Oh
know,
my
you know
god.
how right now we think like
Yeah.
if you got a fucking headache, you should take a Tylenol. The most
Yeah.
people think
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
how it was then. It's like, and you know, some people know you like you ain't supposed to take a fucking Tylenol every time you got a
You
headache.
know
It don't
what?
even.
But wait. So my question be, would be, because this is like the history of our mental health, and we're all about origins and shit. And I never thought about that. You know what? Next episode tomorrow, I'll have more on the origins for us, so we can maybe come to a better understanding of why things are the way they are today. Because as you can see, Nova's saying between 1880 and 1966 is when this was happening, bro. It's only 2024, so we're saying between then and now we've had the technology, I guess, to develop better ways of treating some shit like this. But now,
Mm-hmm.
but what sound even crazy is because if I told somebody back in 1920, let's just say 1918, just to be right in the middle of all of this shit. If I told somebody in 1918 that I felt like I was a woman trapped in a man's body, they would put me in an insane asylum
You was
because they
going.
did not have any more treatment. They didn't have a way, they didn't know how to treat shit. But from there to what, 105 years later, I can be a woman, but I can be a woman, I could be a cat, but I can't be a 79-year-old white man, white guy.
Right. And
There's
and as I
yeah, they
read
marginalize
these,
the fuck out of our mental health, bro. God damn, I
oh,
wonder how much money they
100%.
done made. Damn, I wonder how
And
much money they made off this shit.
1959, like insane asylums were at their peak. And they were
1959.
referred to as snake pits because they had bad reputations. So listen to this shit. It says people either were submerged. This is what it says. What did asylums do to their patients? People were either submerged in a bath for hours at a time, mummified in a wrap pack, or sprayed with a deluge of shockingly cold water in showers. Asylums also relied heavily on mechanical restraints using straitjackets, waistcoats, all kind of, list all kind of shit that they would strap you down with, basically.
Right.
And it's like, what in the fuck were they doing? Like, in what world, on what planet do we live on that we think that
Right.
to treat someone that's mentally
Right.
ill is by fucking basically torturing them, bro? That's what I just described.
But like the information
That's
though,
some Guantanamo Bay type shit.
but the information that you had talked about earlier about nature and shit like that, we got to figure out how old that information is. So like if you're talking about grounding, for example, like what's the first proof of grounding? Like, was it written in the book? Was it because like these tantra books and these meditation books and all of them shits existed in that time period as well? You see what I mean? So it's like what's crazy is that they said that we don't know how, like, if you're so stressed or you're so depressed or you're so anxious or whatever, that it causes a mental illness in your brain, and they don't have any kind of way to do this, or to I guess fix you, per se, or to diagnose you. So they just lock you away, they do weird shit to you, when there's also books out there about grounding and doing some other shit, maybe even
Right.
shrooms. Like they were even practicing shrooms, like, to help patients who had mental illnesses. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that. I wonder how old those studies are. And that's just crazy because like you said, propagandized, marginalized, monetized our entire mental health arena. So it goes to show, like that wasn't left alone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. We hear all the fucked up shit that's been done around the world, just in every arena, from what I'm saying, education to our food to we talk about it all here on this show, and then just to to know for facts, like, damn, our mental health was not even spared. Like, they didn't even spare
Yep.
programming and fucking with your mental health. Like, that was actually probably the first thing, because if in 18, I'm gonna say in 1880, they were 1880 to 1960 something, they were doing this shit, but there was information otherwise, with maybe, like, natural remedies that was available. It was just suppressed. They just
Mm-hmm.
suppress. The information was suppressed. Like, they was, "Nah, we're not gonna teach these motherfuckers about grounding, because then everybody be feeling better." But shit, even back then though, even that time period, if you look at some of those pictures, I bet you it would be hard to find an obese motherfucker.
Yep.
You ever see those pictures
Yep.
of them at the beach and shit? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
I've
yeah.
studied a
There's
lot of those
there's old
pictures.
pictures like that down here, and it's like, damn, that's crazy, bro.
and
Can't
then
even
and
find
then
one.
that makes sense that they probably didn't have as many mental health illnesses. But like you said, even if you did, it's not like you about to tell somebody, unless your family member didn't like you. You know what I mean? Or some shit
Mm-hmm.
like that, because they're basically just gonna lock you up and do weird shit to you.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? Like, and
I
not even
guess
know what they're doing.
so. After that last lobotomy that we were talking about in 1967 that killed someone, I guess that sparked this, and who knows if that was even real, but I don't, I'm saying, because it seems like there was a reason, because it says in 1967, the Lanterman Petrus Short Act passed. It
Okay.
was a so-called Bill of Rights for those with mental health problems, passed the Democratic-controlled Assembly 77-1 vote. The Senate approved it, um, and Ronald Reagan was the president at that time. So
Okay.
in 67, things started to change.
Change.
Um,
Probably because they it changed to pharmaceutical.
right. Well, yeah. 1972, it was a push in California. Um, so it was a
Ain't that
push
where
to
today?
turn to go from a sane asylum
Uh,
to, it was just rebranding basically, to a modern
yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
And so it's
And
turned
people
into a
still don't want
facility.
to go, man. And like, and they got maybe a 15% increase in people to start. I guess we say, coming out, being vulnerable enough to be like, yo, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It only gave them like a 15% increase, because there's still, out of the population, only 30% of people with mental health illnesses
Mhm.
actually go.
But you know what I've heard in the past, and I'm not even reading this right now, but I've heard that the main reason for insane asylums was because of alcoholism.
Okay.
And people that became an alcoholic, or whatever really that is, but
Uh-huh.
people that became an alcoholic and they were, just like doing whatever the fuck alcoholics do, um, nobody could get these people to stop drinking. Nobody could get them to stop, whatever. So instead of them like beating their head up against the wall and trying to figure out what was going on, they just classified it as mental illness. And
Right.
so a lot of the people that ended up in insane asylums were actually considered alcoholics,
Wow.
which is, yeah, right. Like even this says to
Yeah.
provide prompt evaluation and treatment of persons with serious mental disorders or impaired by chronic alcoholism.
Wow. Well, I mean, shit. I mean, alcohol is the spirit, so man, you drinking them spirits
Right.
too much, bro. I wouldn't put it past somebody. I've seen people act completely insane on fucking alcohol.
And it
Utterly
says to help, guarantee and protect public safety.
right.
And if you think about it, I mean, I'm not trying to tell nobody they got to be locked up in a place, but if you're drunk like that and you're out
Yeah.
here just like,
But the thing about it is, they didn't tell us this.
no,
This ain't, you know what I mean? Like, you might get the information of when insane asylum started and when they ended or whatnot, but you don't really get uh this information that most people were chronic alcoholics, or
mm-mm,
they just did a bunch of weird shit because they really didn't know what to fucking do. You know what I mean? Well, maybe they
right.
did. Maybe they
Well,
were
I
just
mean,
doing
hey,
other
think
shit, you
about
know?
this, bro. This shit went into place too, like right after Kennedy was
Right,
assassinated. Okay. And then we all know, well, maybe all of us, but we know that the Kennedys have became rich off of alcohol,
right,
off of liquor.
right.
And so it's like, as soon as the regime changed,
That's
they
crazy to me, man.
recognized it as something else and tried to do something about it. That's weird.
Yeah, it is. And I think maybe it wasn't around then the big pharma was being established. You know what I'm saying? They've
Right.
been around. I mean, they've been around for a while, but I'm saying like they started to kick it in. You know what I mean? I think it was more like they started developing drugs more and being like, oh, well, we can just sell these people these drugs instead of fucking, you know what I mean? We can lock them in the insane asylum. I mean, because I'm sure there was the one here in Maslin, just maybe just 20 years ago it's been over with, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that's still
supposedly
recent.
2015 was the
Yeah.
closure of the last insane asylum.
Yep.
Now everything is just considered a
A
mental
mental
health
health.
like
Yep. Okay.
facility or whatever it is.
That's crazy because that's around the time that they had shut down. Yep. But I know that's what that was only like 11 years ago or 10 years, less than 10 years ago, that they shut the one
Hmm.
down up here. But I got some because I know we'll probably stay on here until 2 today, right? Say an hour
Yeah.
and a half. Okay. I wanted to talk some controversial points on the mental health awareness topic. Um, how do y'all feel about mental health being a cop out? Like, is the increased diagnosis of mental illnesses a legitimate health concern, or is that an excuse for personal failings?
Yeah, I think that's part of that sensationalism.
Yeah, I think so
You know what
too.
I mean?
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's. I don't even think it's like a personal failing. I think it's not personal. I think it's more of a lack of a personal acceptance.
right, right. It's more of a yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
you
Like
could
they don't
call it a
accept
cop out. You could
themselves.
call it
Yeah, yeah,
you could
yeah,
call it, somebody adopting like a victim mentality or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
um,
So wouldn't that be the mental illness instead of like actual the you know what I mean? Like the actual disease. Wouldn't the actual disease be accountability? You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm seeing it. Because I mean, not saying that everybody is like that, but we know that. Man, how should I put this?
Well, do you
Like
think that's why they started calling alcoholism a disease?
yeah, because it's a cop. I think it's a cop out as well because, but I want to say it's 50-50. I want to say that there has to be it's a duality, so it's got to be some kind of balance to it. And I think that there isn't right now. I think that you can claim to be whatever you want to be, and depending on if it's beneficial for the powers that be, they will call you crazy or not.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So like I think like people being like, "Oh, I identify as a man or a woman." You know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But I want to identify as a 78-year-old man because I want 40-cent coffee at McDonald's. But they won't
Mm-hmm.
let me do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So no, you can't change your age or your sex. But I think I think some people it is a cop out because they don't accept themselves for who they are. Like it's cool if you know what I mean. You're a dude and you like dudes. Nobody cares. People been gay since humans been humans.
Right.
Like I
I
there's
definitely believe that the court system has used that though. Like I
yeah.
think that somebody can commit a crime, and if they get a good lawyer and they pay
Oh
enough,
shit. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
can
I'm
escape
with
some stuff by being considered not mentally fit to whatever. And I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying it's not true, but like I'm just
Yeah.
saying, when
It,
money's involved, shit starts.
it's a controversial question or talking point in general. You know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
next couple ones that we have, we'll probably have more in the beginning of the next show when we come back. But I found some controversial talking points that I've seen podcasts talk about, I've seen other people talk about, and it's interesting to discuss. Like because back like for example, like your grandpa might be like, "Man, you just being a bitch." You just being
Right.
lazy. You just doing this. You just doing that. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays it'll be like, oh my 7-year-old has depression because they hate going to school.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And da 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 blah 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 and they're they they're not accepted as a Furby, so they have depression. And now my son has depression because nobody believes that he's a cat. Like what the
Right.
fuck? You know what I
And
mean? So I think it is a cop. I think it's some bullshit going on as well. You know what I mean? Like not saying that all mental
and it
illnesses are
could be
bullshit.
like all the different chemicals that are being introduced to us.
What
I
up,
don't know.
Malik?
It could be making certain people act completely different than other people could ever believe that they could actually act like or feel,
Yeah,
because maybe it's maybe because of the alcohol, right? Maybe the
right,
chemicals in the alcohol made the brain act so irrationally that,
bro.
because I don't know what the alcohol was
I
like back
get you,
then. That shit
but
might have been a
bro,
lot more powerful. You
our
know what I mean? Like,
our mental capacity at this point is that this a woman was able to sue her parents because she didn't ask to be here and they wouldn't pay her rent for her.
wow.
Nigga, and she won.
Wow.
How do you win that? In the court of law, how do you win? I'm suing my parents for not paying my rent because I did not ask to be here. She literally says they did not consent with me prior prior
Prior to having me.
prior to conception.
Hmm.
I'm dead serious, y'all. Like I'm not playing. Go look this shit up. And she's got a TikTok and everything. She was trying to sue. She said, well, she was going to sue the school, but her lawyer said she didn't have a case. She was going to sue her school because her son identifies as a cat, and they haven't put a litter box in the bathroom for him to use. And she's like, "Well, don't worry, I'm not going to sue the school like I sued my parents. I just wanted to get on here and vent." Like I've watched some, and this is because when I do research on mental health, man, like you don't gotta go far. Just go to the fucking social media and you can see a whole bunch of people being absolutely lunatic, right? Just straight mad, right? And then it's acceptable. But then the people
Right.
who might have some kind of logic or sense to that are called crazy and said, no, you have this, or you're this, you have this phobia or you have that
Ooh.
phobia, or your mental health is fucked up because you don't think Barbara
How
can
about
be Samuel and
how
Samuel
about
can be
this?
Barbara.
So it's like, if somebody isn't comfortable with
Hey
giving a
Roya.
speech in front of a bunch of people,
Hey
right?
Jabu. Yep.
Then they're put on some medicine
Right.
to help them be more comfortable. Maybe
Me
they go through
too.
some counseling, stuff like that, right? Whatever. Okay, but
Right.
somebody that thinks that they're a cat
Right.
and that they need a litter box in the bathroom at the school,
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, bro.
Okay, see, something's wrong.
Something wrong for sure. I don't care what nobody say, bro. Like, ain't no fucking, ain't no fucking way my son gonna come to me and tell me I'm a cat and literally, get upset at me if I don't treat him like one. You know what I mean? I'm like, boy, get your ass up off the floor and quit pretending to be a cat. He's like, well, I'm allowed to pretend, and I'm like, yeah, you can definitely pretend. You know what I mean? So even at 3, he knows that he can pretend to be a cat and that he's not a fucking cat. Who it is completely on the parent. Like that is so delusional on the parent side to embrace or to just push that shit and let it ride for that long.
And
You know what I
then
mean?
why did this just become like a mainstream thing in the past couple of
Yes.
years?
Yeah.
I'm
And I
not saying
think
it just started. I'm just saying the mainstream,
they use it as a cop out of being
sensationalizing it.
yeah, of being something different. Oh, I'm just different. You know what I mean? Like I know you're different. I know you're unique. We all have a uniqueness about us as a human. But honey, he's not a cat. I don't care what okay, so then if that's the case, I identify as God and I need everything for free. I created it. So give me my shit. Everything's mine any fucking way. I identify as God. Don't come to me for no rent. Don't come to me for none of this shit. If it wasn't for me, none of this shit would exist. That's who I identify. So then now what? That's I'm
And
crazy
then
now?
and then like let's just go back to like the first part of that is like I identify as
Right. That don't
like
necessarily
what
mean you are.
what does that even I mean, what does that
Yeah,
even
that's what
mean?
it means. It's my avatar. It's like having identity. Like this is just one of my identities. This is what I identify as, and that's what they
Right.
be doing with
Okay,
kids,
so
bro.
think about it. Years ago, that would have been called multiple personalities, schizophrenia, and or locked up in an insane asylum, given
Yes,
a
sir.
lobotomy.
Bro, you couldn't be gay without people thinking you was crazy back then.
Nah.
They even put gay people, you know what I mean, in insane asylums because dudes like I can't figure out why I like men. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, we don't know how to cure that, sir. You can go to the insane asylum. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is
Yep.
fucking crazy to think. But now, you know what I mean? You know what? I guess that's not even crazy. That's not the crazy part. What's the crazy part is that when you logic is trying to make everybody else believe that if we all live different realities and have different perceptions, there is no way that you can force a universal perception on the entire fucking mass.
Nah. And there's got to be a way that if you identify as something, then there's got to be a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I'm just talking, but I think there's got to
Right,
be a little bit of proof. Like, okay, well, show me some proof in that identity. You don't have
right,
cat claws. You don't have
right,
cat ears. You don't have fur all over you. If you do any of that, you got to put it on yourself. You're not born like that.
right,
You don't walk around on all fours normally. You
right,
don't purr.
right,
You don't innately hate fucking dogs. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like there's all these different. You don't hunt birds outside and mice. Like
right.
okay, son, you think you're a cat? You go get that fucking mouse
Yep.
and watch the kid be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!
And let me see
I'm
you
not
eat
that
it.
kind of cat."
Eat it raw too. Don't even. We ain't cooking that bitch for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
and I
about to
mean, you're
eat
trying to
that
make fun
motherfucker.
of nobody at all, but I'm
Nah, it's
just
just
like,
being honest.
dude, come on, man. I mean,
Well, I think
like,
there comes a point where that vulnerability has to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I can't listen, I can't allow you to walk around and try to convince me that our shared reality is your reality.
right. Well,
You
how
know what I mean?
about
Like
like,
it's not about to happen. Like that's almost like an insult, that's like it's almost like man, it's a spit in the face for real, for real. You know what I mean? It's like a smack in the face. Like, huh? You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, we'll make a transgender overweight male the guy who's in charge of our health department for the United States of America. Like it's like they're laughing. Motherfuckers is laughing right in your fucking face, bro. Like the
yeah,
duality is so strong that it's fucking crazy. But back to the point, I think there is a majority of people who use it as a cop out. I don't think that the percentages are up because they're actually crazy. Okay, I don't think that, or I don't, or mentally ill. I think that people are abusing the system, because that's why a lot of my uncles and aunties collect a crazy check, but they ain't even that fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Feel what I'm saying? Like my auntie ain't never shot no shit up. My uncle ain't never fucking did this or did that. You know what I mean? Like my uncle, you don't catch them walking down the street talking to theyself. You know what I mean? You don't see them fucking walking around doing crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like but they get a crazy check.
Yep. I think that's got a lot to do with like just politics also. And
Yeah.
during certain time periods, there's different political movements to move money around and to, you know what I mean?
Oh, and you know what? That's
Like
when you say
launder
that.
money around, use
Yeah.
this to
When you
move
say
this
that,
million.
the next controversial topic though, the over medication epidemic. Are
Yep.
we too quick? You know what I
100%.
mean? Like you said, moving money around. So that means we just really, that's the prescription drugs. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And to be like, oh
and
yeah,
and
sure,
like and like the crazy check too. It's like, okay,
yeah,
so if I'm a politician and I'm bringing in
yes,
this bill, and it's like, okay, so the taxpayers are going to pay for all of this,
man.
but
Mental
if it
health
gets
is a big
paid,
money maker for these cats.
right, and to get it passed, I need to get $50,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody
So
else voting yes does.
so I think we are too quick to prescribe medication for mental health issues, and I think the long-term consequences are we're already seeing it, is that people are just taking advantage of the system. You know what I mean? And that if
Yeah.
you're gonna diagnose anything as crazy, like if I were to, like I said, okay, so if I'm trying to be a woman, I'm not crazy. But if I say that I identify as God, then I am crazy. But you know what I mean? And then so they diagnose me with this crazy, and then they get me medication, and they put me in mental health institutions and shit like that because I'm supposedly crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then I get a check and everything from it. You know what I'm saying? But oh my God, man, this
But
shit.
but you're not doing what you're quote unquote required to do to
Right.
receive that check or
Yep.
whatever. Like, you don't even
Yeah.
take the medicine, you don't even
Right.
go to the appointments. The only time
Yep.
you go to the appointments is when you absolutely have to, so you can
Yep.
get the check. I
Yep.
mean, it's like it's
Yep.
so much
The long
taken
term
advantage of.
consequences, you'll see it in our economy, and then you'll see that the real crazy people aren't even getting treated. Because another controversial talking point was that a lot of people say that therapy is a luxury. Like real mental health therapy is a luxury, as in poor people can't afford the shit, and their health insurances don't cover it for the average person.
Right. And I mean, that's from what I've read and experienced, that is true. I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
obviously
Me too.
you can find some help, right? And
Right.
you can find some facilities and some places to go to, but they're not necessarily designed to help you.
Right.
At that point, they're designed just to keep you
When
and be
has
your
modern
crutch.
medicine has been in our favor? When? You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
can't remember a time period where modern medicine really was like, all right, we're not about the dollar. We really just want to heal you. You know what I mean? Like, it's big business. Your mental health,
Right.
definitely. Like, I think that your mental health is a bigger business that nobody really points out. You know what I mean? Like, cause like people are
Right,
afraid.
because
They stigmatized it. Yeah.
modern medicine is not the whole health care. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my gosh.
Like modern medicine is just the medicine of it, not
And
the not like physical
right,
therapy or not
right,
getting a procedure done or a surgery or whatever.
right.
Medicine is completely different than all that doctor stuff. You know what I mean? Or
it,
whatever. So
it just made a revelation in my brain though, that what I'm saying, nobody speaks about how, people talk about big pharma and all this other shit. People talk about the healthcare industry when they could talk about, going to the hospital and shit. But like they don't really talk about the fact that like people think that, like, they still think that that's a taboo type of topic, like mental health. Like people don't want to be like, well, shit, did you know this and this and this and this about the asylums, and this and this and this about the medication, this and this and this about, what I'm saying? People don't, damn, like I don't know. To me, maybe that's just my circle. I don't, when I hear about certain crazy conspiracy theories of people controlling industry, mental health is just maybe thrown under the health industry. You know what I mean? It's not
yeah,
really, you know pointed out that these motherfuckers have literally created states of mind for
Right.
to put people into on purpose.
Well, the grandfather, I think it is, of the person that created Valium
Uh-huh.
is so his grandfather was the guy that founded or made lobotomies extremely popular.
Right.
So the person that created the chemical compound or put the chemical compound together to create the medicine you would take for or pill you would take for like anxiety, whatever, Valium was directly related to the person that did lobotomies on people.
So after that, he was like, "Well, we'll just sell them volume because we can't
And
lobotomize
you
niggas
know
no
what?
more."
It was like this. It was like they realized
Damn.
that once they had a client and they did a lobotomy on them, they
Uh
no
huh.
longer had a client or a
Right.
patient because it was
Right.
a one-time thing. But if
Right.
you gave them a Valium, they were going to have a patient or a client, whatever you want to call it, for life, just about it.
Right.
Because that person was also going to get addicted to that Valium and need more and more
Mm-hmm.
and more of it, and then end up needing some other shit to have to come off that or that. It's a big cycle.
Big fucking cycle. So then I want to ask this. Thank you. On the GCOM. Appreciate you, GCOM, for the coffee. So I like
What
to
up,
end this
G
with the last 10
Kong?
minutes with this then. So I got it's kind of two questions that kind of go hand to hand. So is the mental health stigma, so people who challenge it like us, like challenge, the mental health stigma, is it a necessary evil, or does the push to eradicate the stigma, so like basically the push to shush niggas like us, romanticize mental illness and diminish personal responsibility, and including with the dark side of health, of self care, right? Because we talked about that too. Has the self care movement become a consumerist excuse for indulgence rather than genuine self improvement? Like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, what up, Chili Will, Chill Will? So the first question basically is it a necessary evil? Does the push to eradicate the stigma romanticize mental illness and diminish personal responsibility? So if we continue to just be like, all right, no, Susan is really Robert and Robert is really Susan, does that just does that help any? Like getting rid of that? Does that or does that romanticize the 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 craziness?
Exactly.
You
It's
know what I
just
mean?
like reveling in the crazy at that point.
Yeah, I can agree
Think
with.
about it. Like if you say to your son or daughter, "Yeah, I agree with you. You do identify as a cat, and I support it.
Right.
And I'm going to call the school and tell them that you need a litter box in the bathroom."
Would you consider
Like, what are
this
you
this
actually doing at that point?
right? And I want when you say that, I want to ask you this question, and that's why I kind of put both of them in the same question, because what I want to ask is that do you think that the self the self help or the self uh oh shit, I'm sorry, I lost my place in my questions where I was talking to
Okay,
you.
so how about this?
So yeah, the
Why is
self
it
care.
weird? Why is there a weird stigma on this? Why is there a weird stigma on someone identifying as a different race, but
Right.
not as a different sex or as a
Right. So
different entity in general? That's fucking
does
weird, bro.
is it because these people are self care so much, like, you know what I mean, like the people who identify as cats or whatever, is that a form of self care? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that because they were doing self care? Like they were like, no, 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 I'm not gonna do what the logical thing would be to do, is to tell my son, no, he's not a cat. I'm just going to do a different way of I'm gonna enforce it. I'm going to just roll with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, is that a form of self care instead of being like, maybe I should get my son some help? You know
I
what I'm saying?
mean,
You get what I mean? Like, instead of
yeah,
going
no,
to the
I mean,
bathroom and
I
being like, yo, my son thinks he's a cat, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like,
right. You're
You know what
just
I'm
kind of
saying?
taking the easy
You
way.
just self, yeah. Like I think
Yeah.
that it's like the self care. That's the dark side of self help, self care to me, because it caused a lot of this romanticizing of the mental illnesses
Right.
and the diminishment of the personal responsibility, all
Right.
because we allow people to self help instead of being that motherfucker that's be like, no, nigga, you ain't a cat, bruh. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Exactly.
why are we the bad guy for being like, bro, no, you're not a fucking cat. It's okay. Maybe you were one in your past life or your life. Maybe you could be one next life, bro. But right now, in this very moment, my nigga, you're not a fucking cat.
No,
And I'm
it's like
sorry, I
this. It's like, okay, so here's a cat, right? And then this is you. Now, I don't know. Maybe we're wrong, but ever since we've been talking about cats, this is a cat. Ever since we've been talking about humans, that you're a human.
right,
I mean, if everybody could feel a certain way, but like
right,
to actually identify and then to
right.
be treated as a
I think
cat
that you
or
can't.
or a fucking roly poly or whatever it is. I
You
mean,
But do you? This is the thing though, like the line, like you said. So to bring it back to your question about what you said about, how come I can't identify as white or you identify as black? See, and the reason why I was saying what I was saying was because you kind of jumped ahead of me with that. That was the actual point, that it comes down to. Like, do you do we continue to allow other people's delusions just because the government backs it to interfere with the reality of the situation? Like
and
sometimes you just
or
gotta, yeah,
like you said, as a parent, do we continue to tiptoe around this shit,
right.
or do we just say, hey, a road is a road, a car is a car drives on the road, a road does not drive on the car. It
And for
just
me,
doesn't happen. You
if
can't
you're
do it.
not gonna open the door all the way, then we don't need to open. This is one of them doors. This is one of these doors where if we're not gonna open it all the way, so if I can't be white and Nova can't be black, if you want to identify with black, if the next time somebody call me, I think it is deeper than that, Chill Will. But I think if you're not gonna open the door all the way, then you can't. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Right. You can't
It's not gonna.
gatekeep
Yeah,
mental health, right? So you can't
yeah.
gatekeep it. You can't say, and I'm not disagreeing with anybody in the panel here. I'm just saying, or
Nah,
in
for
the show,
sure.
I'm just saying, like, so if you say you can't gatekeep it to where it's, oh, this is how mental health is supposed to be. Wait a minute,
Yep.
mental health is like way bigger than what we even really can
Right.
grasp, bro. Like
And
mental
it's not.
health is fucking deep.
It's not. And
And we
it's not.
can't just say like, oh yeah, we know what it is. And
Right.
look, this is right, and this.
Right,
Nope.
because it was what 1880 when we was still lobotomizing niggas who would have said some shit like that 100 years ago.
1967, we did the last lobotomy on
I'm
somebody and killed them.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean. So even if
Jeez.
you even that long, even that short a time ago, bro, if you were to say some shit like that, you'd be fucking lobotomized. But now, you know what I mean. Like you're right. It's got this
And
crazy uh
like
stigma behind it.
right, and like we were saying, a little bit earlier, like as far as like how Chill Will said, I think it's deeper than that. I do too. I think like there could be chemicals, there could be hormones, there could be all
Yeah,
kinds of different things that have been introduced to the human being that possibly, along with things affirming it and being okay with it and
right,
promoting it,
right.
sensationalizing it, all this stuff we've been
Well,
talking about.
they took that you can be whatever you want to be in life to a whole new motherfucking level, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep,
But they won't let me be a god, though. You know what I mean? Now I'm talking crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? Or they won't let me identify as something. Let me identify as your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean? Do that without somebody being like, "Nah, nigga, you tripping."
right. Or like, could I just identify as a professor at Harvard?
And that's a good question. Yeah, I know, right?
Okay,
How can I
so
get it if that's
if I do, then can I go there and teach?
right,
Because if
right,
somebody can identify as a cat and they can go to school and be provided a litter box because it's just how it's supposed to be. Where do we draw the line? Can I go? Can I be a cop right now and just go out there and start arresting
I identify
people?
with the police. You can't arrest me. I identify as police. You know what I mean? And Chill Will says, what makes a person sane, productive, calm is what mental health will look like. Yeah, it's a level of logic to it. You know what I mean? That is kind of been thrown out the window. It's a level of logic to being
I think it
mentally
goes
sane.
along with the whole everybody gets a fucking trophy, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Honestly,
it is.
like I
It's
just
a
think that,
program.
like, you know, it's
Yep.
like if you're gonna have regulations and rules and the way things go, then they either have to be formally changed,
Yep.
or they
all the way around.
Right, they got to be adopted all the way around. If not, like, what are we doing?
Right.
It's like we're in a fucking insane asylum at this point.
Yeah, bro. It shows the control that a group of individuals have over an entire nation's population, mentally, spiritually, and physically. If
Right.
it's a literal morality free for all. You know what I'm saying? Like you see what's going on even in the rap industry with that beef between. It's a whole morality issue going on. You know what I mean? Around the whole entire globe, and we've seen this in many other empires prior to their collapse.
Yep.
And so this isn't, obviously something, new. Like people play crazy and they've been crazy forever, but then now it's okay to be this kind of crazy, but not this kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, guys, it's Mental Health Awareness Month here with the Think Hard crew. Today was Fuck Around, Find Out. More like Face Our Fears and what was it? Face Our Fears and something together. I can't remember what it said. Appreciate you, Chill Will, for stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow for What the Fuck Wednesday as we continue to talk about mental health. Next month is men's mental health. We might even just continue to just big the fuck up out of men all next month when it comes to the mental health side of things. But it's going to be an interesting topic for the rest of this month, guys. So I advise everybody to stay tuned. Visit us at thinkhighcrew.com. Go ahead and cop yourself a nice bucket hat. I just put them up. If you into the Bitcoin, we got some Bitcoin shirts. I just put them up. Appreciate you, Marley. Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure y'all keeping y'all mental health together, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. I can't say exactly what a clean mental health looks like or insane person looks like. All I can say is that with a balance of nature and love and the understanding that you never really die, you should be alright.
Yeah.
You never really die. I mean, so like if you think about it like that, if I never really died, then you know what I'm saying? Just enjoy the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That don't mean like, go jump off a building or some shit like that.
See, that's
but, no fear, no fear, no surrender.
No fear, no surrender.
But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for WTF Wednesday, not Wednesday, but Wednesday. Like the win on Wednesday.
I swear, bro. I appreciate y'all.
Check out thinkhighcrew.com. thinkhighcrew.com, and we're gonna get up out of here with this banger by SOTOV.
All right, G-Con, you have a great day. See you, Chili Will. Peace out, Marley. This Marley. Liar. Dropping this month on the 24th. Yeah. But you heard it first right here. Yeah. This is the way that the chips fall. I hope you was betting on me. I've been all in since the windfall. Watching the L coming streaks. Never gave up on the old me. Been rapping so long, now I'm OG. Supreme of the valley, that's word of the adage. Just at me if you want the whole thing. And it's on me, I don't like the cap. I don't ever rap what I don't live. Keep the hood on tap, and it's a fact. We're only a fraction of my wrist. See, I'm built like that. I don't want it all. I just wanna ball with my bros. Give it all to the kids when we go. And let them know that your favorite rapper is a lie. Yeah, fuck what they talking, been telling you why. Yeah, you thought they was real? Open your eye. Yeah, this shit's not a game, we tryna survive. In a world where music is God, your favorite rapper is a lie. Yeah, fuck what they talking, been telling you why. Yeah, You thought they was real? Open your eye. Yeah, this shit's not a game, we tryna survive. In a world where music is God, your favorite rapper is a lie.
Yeah, might see me walking down Erie at midnight. We ain't the same on the inside. Black sheep, niggas still ball like he 6'5". Still put your bitch in the 6'9". I was on ice, pushing that weight up an incline. Nigga had life, all in the back of that Nissan. Fuck is you talking about? We made a way when Wall Street had us on decline. You niggas is bright till I pop out like a neon. You niggas is hot till I show up with the Freon. We on a whole nother plane. All of my foes is going insane. You know what it is, it's fucking supreme. Yeah, yeah.
Fuck what they talking, been telling you why. Yeah, you thought they was real? Open your eye. Yeah, this shit's not a game, we tryna survive. In a world where music is God, your favorite rapper is a lie. Yeah, fuck what they talking, been telling you why. Yeah, you thought they was real? Open your eye. Yeah, this shit's not a game, we tryna survive. In a world where music is God, your favorite rapper is a lie.